Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to talk about the national parks in Ecuador. Okay, to have a general information about our country, the experts in biodiversity consider Ecuador like a mega biodiverse country, and we are the first country in number of species per square kilometer. And one important fact that led us being first in that fact is that we have 51 protected zones, and these 51 protected zones represent the 19% of the whole Ecuadorian territory. Inside the protected zones, we have 11 national parks. There are Cayambe Coca, Cotopaxi, Galápagos, Yanganates, Machalilla, Podocarpus, Sangay, Sumaco, Yasuní, Yacuri, and El Cajas. A protected zone to be considered a national park has to have three characteristics. The first one is that it has to be a minimum 10,000 hectares. It has to have minimum 10,000 hectares of territory, and it also has to include a big percentage of a big biodiversity of flora and fauna, and also the people that is in charge of the national park has to have to maintain it in its natural condition. Okay, I found a study of 2012 in which they count the number of tourists that visit our national parks, and it was 650,000 tourists approximately, and the cost to enter to our national parks are $20, an average of $20. That means that in that year the country made approximately $13 million just in tickets to visit our national parks. And we also have to consider all the money that tourists will invest in food or in transport or in hotels. Okay, I'm going to talk about three national parks. Two of them are the biggest national parks that we have in the country, and also I am going to talk about one representative national park. And the first national park is the Galápagos National Park. Okay, it includes 683,000 hectares, and it was created in 1936. And UNESCO considered the Galapagos Islands like a heritage for humanity. Okay, it is really important for our country because we have a big biodiversity of fauna and flora, and the biodiversity of fauna are lots of species of birds, and the most known species are the blue boobies, the red boobies, the Darwin finches, and also the fragates. And the most representative mammal in the islands are the sea wolves. And we also have a big number of reptiles that can be the giant turtles, also the marine turtles, and we have two types of iguana. And one important fact is that the marine iguana of the Galapagos is the only iguana in the whole world that lives the most of the time in the water. And also we have endemic species of flora that are the manzanillo or some species of cactus. Okay, Galapagos Islands National Park is really important because Darwin see the beaks of the finches here in the Galapagos, and it helped him a lot to establish the evolution theory. And also Galapagos National Park is considered a natural laboratory because the 97% of the land of the whole archipelago is a national park. Okay, the second national park is Cotopaxi National Park. It has 33,000 hectares and is located in Cotopaxi, Napo, Pichincha. And the main attraction of this park is the Cotopaxi volcano that has an altitude of 5,897 meters from the sea level. And it is a paradise for the climbers because the Cotopaxi has a form of a perfect cone, and it's also the nearest point to the sun. So the Cotopaxi is one of the most important elevations in the avenue of the volcanoes that pass through Ecuador. And this national park is also important because it protects the biodiversity of species of the park. Another attraction of this park is the Limpiopungo Lagoon, that from which you can have a perfect view from of the volcano, and it also has a lot of ecological routes that you can walk in and watch the landscape of the national park. And the third national park I'm going to talk about is the Yasuní National Park. It is the biggest national park in our territory, and it has 1,022,000 hectares, and it was created in 1879. It is located in the provinces of Orellana and Pastaza. Okay, it is considered like a reserve of a biosphere reserve by UNESCO, and it's also the place where the Guarani nationality live. And it is considered a biosphere reserve because it's a hotspot of biodiversity, because in this national park you can find in a little space of territory lots of species. And to know how much number of species we have in this national park, the numbers of flora and fauna are, there are like 2,000 species of trees, and in fauna we have 204 mammals, 610 birds, 121 reptiles, and 150 amphibians, and more than 250 species of fish. An important fact that we have to know, that every Ecuadorian have to know, is that if we sum these two values of reptiles and amphibians, we have almost the same amount of reptiles and amphibians that Canada and the USA together. And it's all this biodiversity is located in a little space of territory. And the conclusions are that Ecuador is a blessed country that allows lots of species to live in, and it is because we have the Choco Corridor and the Andes Highlands that are two territorial spaces that make a boom of biodiversity, and also we are located in the center of the world. That is also another important fact, to have a lot of species. And finally, I want to finish this talk telling you that we have to protect our country. Thank you.